Hey guys, I hope you're all doing really great and ready for today's video. Now, Gellert Grindelwald and Lord Voldemort are quite often compared to each other. They were both dark wizards who sought to purify the wizarding world, although when it came down to the finer details, the two men proved to be actually very different. Something that has always been on my mind when I think of Gellert Grindelwald is the fact that he never made horcruxes, and I can only ask why. Why didn't he prolong his life indefinitely in order to make sure that he was always present to rule over muggles as the magical folk prospered while out of hiding? So let's take a look at all of the possible reasons, and hopefully we can figure out why exactly Gellert Grindelwald never made a horcrux. Welcome back to the wizarding world, everyone. Please enjoy today's video. Okay guys, let's get this video started. So, why didn't Gellert Grindelwald create a horcrux? Why didn't he pursue immortality? Well, in order to find the answers to these questions, we first have to look at Gellert as a character and how he differed from the only person to actually create a horcrux in over 2,000 years, Lord Voldemort. Now, the thing is, even though Grindelwald and Voldemort had some similarities, like trying to mount a takeover of the wizarding world, they were completely different people. Grindelwald never actually considered immortality. Living forever was not his goal. The truth is, at the time, and even today I might add, the power to make oneself immortal was a very grey area. Yes, there were rumours of people who had meddled, and of course, many would hear of the untested methods, dangerous methods. Then there was of course another man who actually did achieve the power to live forever, or indefinitely, Nicholas Flamel. The famous alchemist who, with the invention of the Philosopher's Stone, created the elixir of life, a drink that once ingested would slow down the aging process rapidly, but Nicholas' life was forever tied to the consumption of the elixir on a regular basis. His appearance in Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald definitely shows the consequences of prolonging his life further than nature intended. Not as bad as a horcrux, but it did have its own side effects. When it actually comes down to the horcrux, I've no doubt in my mind that Grindelwald knew what it was and what it did, but this was the darkest magical practice in existence. Nothing could top horcrux creation. It was an area of magic that not even Gellert would tread upon, for the practice was meant for wizards who had abandoned all remaining good within them, and Gellert was not technically an evil man. He didn't take pleasure in hurting people, he didn't enjoy torturing them, he didn't enjoy killing magical folk. It was never his intention. He wanted to free them from the shackles of oppression. His motto confirmed this, for the greater good, meaning the end will justify the means. Several deaths are worth the formation and coming together of the bigger picture, air quotes, the greater good. Now, even though Gellert was extremely powerful and was feared by so many, don't forget before Lord Voldemort, he was considered the most powerful dark wizard of the age. He was simply not as powerful as his successor. He never got to the level of Voldemort, most likely because up until Voldemort, those kind of heights hadn't existed. Voldemort was far more advanced, far more important. He had a constant hunger to best himself in every single area of magic. He consistently got better and better. He never stopped one day and said, well, that's it, I've won at magic. Whereas Grindelwald, I feel, did peak in a way. Don't get me wrong, this was a very high peak, way above anyone else at the time. But his goal was more important than personal development. Even his own life did not come before the long-term goal. Voldemort's main goal, however, was to push the boundaries of magic further than anyone before him, to take magic to a whole different platform, to do things nobody had ever come close to doing. Which, as we know, was creating the Horcrux and achieving immortality without any real repercussions that he wasn't willing to accept, like his soul being broken and stuck in limbo for all eternity. What Gellert lacked in magical achievements, he definitely made up for in wisdom. He was far more wise than Voldemort. He would never risk his own humanity on tearing out a piece of his soul and storing it inside an object. It was utterly unimaginable and, as I said, only fit for a wizard who was willing to sacrifice his humanity in its entirety. Gellert's focus was achieving his goal, and in order to do that, he pursued the Deathly Hallows. This was his area of interest, something Voldemort never paid much attention to, and wouldn't have if it weren't for the fact that he and Harry's wands shared the same core. Becoming the Master of Death was what Grindelwald had wanted since his teenage years, ever since he heard of the Deathly Hallows in the first place. But despite his passion and interest in the Hallows, he knew very little about them. He didn't know the dangers of the Elder Wand in terms of how it could so easily change allegiance. He had no idea of just how different the Cloak of Invisibility was to other cloaks, and as far as the Resurrection Stone goes, well, one of his plans was to raise an army of Inferi with the stone, something that was far beyond the object's capabilities. The Hallows were but a rumour amongst the wizarding folk, but Gellert grew to embrace them religiously, even incorporating the Elder Wand into his very own emblem. Then there is the other side of the coin. If he actually did create a Horcrux. Now personally, I'll state right now, I don't believe he did or ever would have, but I think it's only fair to look at the scenario of if he did, based upon the smallest fraction of evidence that could insist otherwise. Now guys, as I said, I don't believe he did or ever would create a Horcrux, so I have to admit the following piece of information is not my theory. I didn't come up with it, I read it somewhere. I couldn't ever see myself making up a pro-Horcrux theory for Gellert, so I looked this up on Google and found this on a forum, and it goes as follows. Grindelwald loves talking in riddles. He loves to leave people thinking, loves having those opposite him analysing his every word and every move. His Deathly Hallows necklace was extremely dear to him in the first Fantastic Beasts movie. It represented everything he truly believed in. It had a power about it that made it different to anything else. Now the counter-argument is, why would he leave it with credence? Not much was thought of the necklace until the end of the first movie, when he says, "Will we die just a little?" Possibly meaning, what will we do to ensure that part of us survives as a little bit of us dies? So that's the small theory I came across. Maybe you guys can let me know what you think down below. Personally, I think he was referencing the oppression of Makusa to stay hidden, and that was killing part of the wizarding spirit. I don't think he was referencing a Horcrux. But anyway, let's continue. My final reason for Grindelwald not creating a Horcrux was down to the small fact he did not fear death. Now please don't mistake this with my first example of the video when I said he didn't want to seek immortality, because there's a difference. Grindelwald was not afraid to die. He didn't consider death a weakness like Voldemort did. Every life had a value to him, some lives worth more than others, yes, but he would gladly die in the hope that the wizarding world would finally be unmasked, unleashed from its hidden domain, with wizards and witches finally able to take their place as the dominant race. Voldemort, on the other hand, I believe, would have annihilated everything and everyone, every building, anything in his path, if it meant he could live forever. That was the difference. So guys, with that being said, that is my explanation on why Gellert Grindelwald never created a Horcrux. And my question for you today is a relatively simple one. How do you believe a Horcrux is made? I want to know your honest opinions in the comment section below. So guys, thanks again for watching, have a great day, and please remember to be kind and be happy. Thank you so much for watching, I truly appreciate your support. Everyone, notifications of uploads are more important than ever, so please, if you haven't already, turn those notifications on to make sure you're notified the moment my video goes live. Making videos is what I love to do, it's my dream and my passion. However, it does cost time and money to produce this content, so if you have $1 to spare to support me on Patreon in exchange for some exclusive unseen content, then you can click the Patreon link below or at the end of this video. Please only support me if you can afford it. and make sure to follow me on Instagram at InstaDNJ and on Twitter at PotterFolklore. Check out my other videos appearing on screen, and please make sure, most importantly, to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again everyone, and please have a great day.